Welcome to the maxcast Plus Preparation, Application, and Removal video. Take a moment to review the patient and application instruction sheets. Cast preparation. First, take the stockinette and roll up the leg to just above the knee. Leave 2 to 3 inches overhanging at the toes, making sure there are no bumps or wrinkles on the plantar surface. Next, we apply the self-adhesive foam toe pad. Remove the backing and apply with the long edge, mid-sulcus, folding over the toes, squeezing the edges together, creating dog ears. Following the contour of the foot, trim the excess foam on the lateral and medial edges of the foot. Next, we apply our lateral and medial strips. Measure from the base of the malleolus about 3 fingers below the patella, angling slightly inward towards the anterior tibia. Apply the strip. Utilize the excess material to create a bridge between the proximal edges of the lateral and medial strips. Next, apply the proprietary talus pad, centering at the bend of the foot over the talus. Again, utilize the excess felt to line the tibial crest. Next, take the self-adhesive malleoli strip, measuring from the edge of the toe foam to the back and bottom edge of the lateral and medial strips. Apply the strip and utilize the excess felt to line the tibial crest. Repeat on the opposing side of the foot. Apply the malleoli strip. Utilize the excess felt to line the tibial crest. The patient is now ready for casting. Place the patient in prone position and start by applying the cotton cast padding. Roll from the toe foam approximately up the leg. Continue up the leg to the edge of the lateral and medial felt strips. Take any excess material and roll down the leg towards the calf. Next, we apply our plaster. Remove the plaster from the packaging. Hydrate for 3 to 5 seconds and squeeze out any excess water. Begin rolling at the toe foam, following the same line as the cast padding, overlapping by approximately 3/4 of an inch. Roll proximally up the leg to the edge of the lateral and medial strips or until the plaster has been completely utilized. The plaster is the conforming roll and is important as it is the basis for intimate contact. Briefly smoothen the plaster to eliminate any bumps or wrinkles, especially on the plantar surface. We now apply our first roll of 4-inch fiberglass cast tape. Remove from the package and briefly hydrate. Squeeze out any excess water and begin rolling at the toes, overlapping by approximately 1/3 of the width of the cast tape. Roll proximally up the leg. Roll to the edge of the lateral and medial felt strips, leaving the very edge exposed. Utilize any excess material rolling down towards the calf, briefly smoothing. Next we apply our proprietary prefabricated 7-layer posterior splint. Remove the splint from the packaging. Do not wet as it pulls its moisture from the previous layers of material. Unroll the splint and align with the proximal edge of the posterior side of the cast, up the leg, across the plantar surface, overhanging at the toes. Utilize the excess stockinette to create a collar. Take the rocker walker, which has a front to back orientation, place on the plantar surface with the front of the back pad in alignment with the anterior tibia. You can trim excess material from the posterior splint to accommodate various deformities such as valgus, varus, and equinus. Take the last roll of 4-inch fiberglass tape, remove from the packaging, and briefly hydrate. Squeeze out any excess water and start by applying at the midfoot at either the styloid process or the medial cuneiform. Roll from the midfoot around the toes, around the heel, and back towards the toes again. As the cast tape overlaps, pin with your fingers and roll under the dorsum. Make 2 full rotations, pulling the posterior splint flat against the dorsum and catching the front end of the rocker walker. On the 3rd rotation, twist the cast tape 3 times and pull through the center of the bridge of the rocker walker. Continue rolling, locking the back edge of the walker in place and proximally up the leg. Roll to the proximal edge of the cast, leaving the felt lateral and medial strips exposed. Briefly smoothing. Next, take the self-adherent dressing and secure the loose end of the fiberglass tape. This allows the clinician to move on to other patients while the cast cures. Once the cast is secured, the patient can now roll over, being careful to not bump the cast. Allow 10 to 12 minutes for the cast to cure before the patient ambulates. The maxcast Plus system removes in a bivalve configuration which is unique to traditional total contact casting. Mark the edges of your lateral and medial strips with a Sharpie and 90 degrees to the edge of the toe foam. Draw a line down the center of the felt as this will be your cutting indicator. Repeat on both sides of the cast. Cut distally from the proximal edge of the cast down the center of the felt to the center of the malleolus. There is a prominent bump where the felt strips overlap at the malleolus. Then cut 90 degrees down the center of the malleoli strip to the edge of the toe foam. Repeat on the opposing side of the leg and the foot. Make a very shallow cut over the distal toe area, being careful to not cut too deep. This creates a hinge for removing the center of the cast. Next, take your scissors and relieve the stockinette in alignment with your lateral and medial cuts. Next, take cast spreaders and loosen the cast along the incisions. Support the patient's foot with your thigh and remove the center, pulling from the proximal end of the cast. Relieve the stockinette with your scissors, and the cast should easily remove from the patient's leg, gently spreading as you pull.